C12, this is C20. Message over.
C20, send. Affirmative.
Roger. Out.
Hi, my name is Andrew McCutcheon, and this is a special video because this is the first video I've ever shot in my new studio. So that explains the amount of cups of tea that I'll be drinking, and that explains the change of scene. It is good to see you though, and it is good to see in front of me two watches in 3 variations that we are going to explore in this video. And why is this collection to me significant? Why is it worth a video? I'll tell you straight up. I love Longines aviation watches. I love them a lot. There have been many videos, including one on a podcast of mine, that told the world the one watch I'd never sell is in fact a Longines aviation themed watch. It's the Longines Aviation Big Eye. This watch is many things to me. It is the watch I'll never sell. It is the most banged up watch I've ever had, and it's probably going to get even worse as it gets banged around on my wrist for the rest of my life. And the reason I love it so much is that it is authentic. Longines has a very legitimate history with aviation watches, and all you need to do is visit the museum in Saint-Imier to see just how deeply this brand's history is rooted in aviation. Whether it's Weems, Amelia Earhart, watches like the Type A7 that turn the dial to face the pilot from an angle, a bit like the Aviation Constantin American 1921. There is so much richness to the story of Longines and aviation. The Longines Spirit, when it came along, definitely took the pilot trope, the pilot concept, to a more modern level. It had beautiful finishing. It had beautiful touches like this high-polished ring that sort of circles the chapter ring of the watch. It has applied numerals that are polished, has an applied logo. It really luxes up and gives, I think, it isn't a tool watch intention on the wrist. This is a watch that could easily be considered a go anywhere, do anything watch, including even suit duty. This is the 39mm new model. Now, for the dial purists, you will notice that there is a change between this and the previous Spirit Pilot collection, which is a lack of 5 stars on the dial. This was an applied element that appealed to some, but not to others. And Longines have listened here by removing that 5-star element. And it's up to you really. Do you prefer with or without? The new model is even slimmer than the smallest Spirit to date at 37mm. So that watch was 11.7mm high. This new 39mm model is 11.5mm. So diameter has increased to that perfect size between the 37mm and the 40mm, but the thickness has decreased. Now, this new 39mm model that is slimmer comes on the brushed and polished version in steel with a micro adjust, and you have a double folding aged leather strap with a deployant that is activated by those 2 points there with a micro adjust. There's also a third strap option which bridges the gap between the classic steel bracelet and the padded leather strap, which is a textile rubber strap for those looking for a more modern strap look, and a strap you can sweat into in your sporting activities or in the hotter months. It's secured to the wrist via a pin buckle rather than the micro adjustable folding clasp on the leather strap. And this watch, to me, has more in common with the Black Bay 58 and, for example, the Rolex Explorer than it does with those IWC Pilot models. And that's because it does have these luxury or these gilt elements that, to me, always add something. They elevate the feel of a watch. This watch on wrist has an Explorer vibe, and that's not just because of its size and its general aesthetics. It also has to do with these polished numerals, which elevate the watch. So I think great improvements, great strides forward towards a fantastic one watch in the Longines Spirit 3 hands. And then you have the Flyback chronograph. This model brings in the historical powerhouse that is Longines in aviation, and it incorporates a complication that was first invented in 1930 by Longines and was patented in 1936, which is a flyback chronograph. What is a flyback chronograph, you ask? Well, some of you may ask, and it's easily answered. A flyback chronograph is a chronograph that you start, and to reset it, instead of stopping it and then hitting reset and getting a second chance to time something else, you can simply start it and then hit the reset button, bang, and it starts again. So super handy if you're in a military operation or if you're trying to show off to your friends at the bar. Now this watch also has, I would consider, Goldilocks style dimensions. It is 39.5 millimeters in diameter and 13.4 millimeters thick. So on my 7-inch wrist, again, you're seeing this fit quite snugly into the wrist, and with a diameter of 39.5, it is certainly fitting well within the dimensions of my wrist. Now, another attribute of this watch, as opposed to the free hands, is that we have a flat sapphire crystal in the free hands, and we have a slightly boxed crystal in the flyback chronograph. This version is automatic and doesn't need to be wound. This is a hand wound model and has a open case back for you to see that movement and for you to see some of the action that you instigate by winding this watch, including a blued column wheel for the column wheel chronograph that just shows off that critical component in a chronograph movement. So there you have it, a flyback chronograph and 2 three-handed pilot watches that are getting closer and closer to what could be considered a watch that does it all, and that does it, in this case, with 2 distinctly different personalities. You also can have this on a leather strap as well. And my advice would be buy either of these watches with both straps, because they present the watch with such different personalities. This is more your Steve McQueen, your military style, pre-worn, pre-aged watch, and then the bracelet really makes this ready for whatever you're going to throw at it, even suit duty. 2 new Longines Spirit models, both of them, I think, presenting the watches in a more wearable form and in a way that just hits that sweet spot of 39 millimeters, which sort of ends the sizing debate, since it's neither a small watch nor a large watch, just a comfortable watch. This would be my pick from the Spirit collection so far, but you tell me in the comments, what do you think of these 2 new models? Do they inch closer to something that could be on your wrist? Let me know, and see you on the next video.